are live. How are you, man? You good? You good? I can't hear you.
Yeah, I'm good. Hey,
Now I
man.
hear you. Now I hear you.
How you doing?
Okay. Good,
How
good,
you
good.
doing?
Ooh.
What are we doing here?
I what are we doing here? Well, I don't every time we're on, I'm wondering again. This is contemplating the purpose of our show. But on the other hand, it's so clear because you know what's the purpose of anything that's happening in the world right now if not for us to go through something purposeful. Isn't it the big question? Is there a purpose or is there no purpose to anything that's happening? Isn't it like the huge big thing? I consider myself, like, I still consider myself, but I an atheist, I would say. Um, but before I came to the wisdom of Kabbalah, before I learned about the wisdom of Kabbalah, for me it was like, you live, you die. The goal is to have fun as much as you can. And that's it. There's really no meaning to anything and no purpose to anything. And it doesn't matter what you do or don't. At the end of the day, we all die and it's done. And you should try to have fun
Explains a lot about
on
you.
the way. That was kind of like the, yeah, very, very hedonistic kind of approach, but all in good fun. In good fun, it was like an important thing to just to be like fun to be around and like to have fun. Um but yeah. And
What'd you do with the big What'd you do with the big questions?
so the point is that
How
the
does an
big
atheist deal with the big
no
questions?
so here's the yeah so Yeah. So the big questions were always there, though. Always there from the moment I remember myself. Like from the moment
But when you
I.
got dragged into synagogue on the holidays and stuff, you're like, this is just
So,
like
as a
this.
person who grew up, Jewish and somewhat connected to the Jewish tradition, yeah, I had to find myself here and there, like in a synagogue with like family or,
Christians have to go on Christmas, the
right?
Jews get to go on
Yeah.
Yom Kippur. Everyone finds
Yeah.
himself at one day of the year in a building, and
So,
they're
so that was always, I found it as a kid, I found it somewhat annoying because I had to go there in most cases against my will. um, Boring. I found it boring, but that was like on a childish level. On a deeper level, I was questioning, like, what is going on? What is going on? Is it I get that that people are worshiping some god, some higher power, some upper entity, but I didn't understand the basis of it. And I didn't understand how you can do it in such a manner that seemed to me as like blind, as not based on something that you can measure and experience and have a direct sensation of an involvement with. I felt that I maybe wasn't able to express and articulate these words, but I was able to feel that. What I'm telling you now, I remember feeling as a 6 year old, as a 10 year old. From the age of six, though, I would already I would already ask, like, what the heck is going on here?
like,
What is going on here? What the hell? What's this all? What is this all about? Like, what's the purpose of this? Is there a purpose? I always had a thing also with, like, did you have this as a kid where you're you can't, it's hard for you to accept that others also exist? Did you know that thing?
Oh, I didn't know about that. Up until here, I could relate. I had some kind of religion. I wasn't like religious, but I kind of like bought it a little bit because I just didn't know what else to do. That was just the model that was kind of imprinted on me. But I had those same questions. Like, what is
Yeah.
happening and what's this? But no, I don't think I ever thought like, why does anyone else exist?
No, you
That's
yeah, no, that's it's an interesting thing. I always like I remember myself talking to myself like 6 year old, 7 year old. I'm sure like that age. I can even like verify it with like I have some faint memories of me
like what your kitchen looked like.
walking
Yeah. Mhm.
somewhere, and I know that I was
Yeah.
about maybe second grade, so maybe eight. Like I can tell it was that age more or less, and I remember I had thoughts of like, can it be like when I don't see the other people, do they exist when I don't see them? Like everyone else, all the other children too, they also have like a house and like
Mm,
siblings, and they have like they're now running their lives. There's something's happening in their lives right now when I'm not there. How can that be? It's a very interesting, very peculiar thought, and it was a very and you know what's interesting? My son has tells me from today he's 9. I think from 6 or 7 he's telling us, my wife and I, that he goes like, Daddy, why do I feel like I'm not real? So
mm,
for him it's the opposite. He feels that everyone else, and I questioned him because I wanted to understand the exact kind of nuanced like this sensation, and he feels like everyone else exists besides him. He feels like
mm,
he doesn't exist. And now it's not anything emotional. It's not anything. It's more like an intellectually philosophical kind of thought. It's not that it's connected. You can see that it's connected to some distress, like, oh, I don't exist. No, no, no. It's not that at all. He just says like, Daddy, I have this weird feeling like no one like everyone else exists, but I don't. I'm not real. Somehow I'm not real. Very interesting stuff. Yeah.
really, really interesting.
Yeah.
Now that you even bring up these new generations, yeah, wow, they come so equipped
Mm,
and so prepared. It's
yeah.
really too bad media is just such shit and disgusting crap is constantly, can I say that on the show? So
Mm,
constantly like filling their, sorry if I'm not supposed to, filling their, just filling them with just junk. But yeah, they come so ready for and
mm.
prepared for all these changes that we're going through. So everybody, welcome,
Yeah.
welcome to
Welcome
the show.
everybody. We should say
Did you?
do you know
Yeah.
that uh, Azriel Cherish, and I hope that I'm pronouncing it in the right way. He is broadcasting this podcast live to Castbox. I'm not familiar with Castbox, but apparently he says there's a bunch of regular listeners there. So shout out to you guys, everyone who is
Hello, everybody out
listening
there. Tell
on
what country? Where are?
uh,
So
ah
he's
bes-
getting our
he's
so
getting
he's
the
getting our
stream,
feed
yeah, and streaming
and
it.
sending it somewhere.
Right, right.
Wow.
So
Hello.
everyone
So
who's following there and on Castbox, hello everyone. It's great to say hello to
hi.
you. We also have
I wish we knew
friends.
everyone's name. We
Uh,
could like we're
yeah,
connecting to them
we
all. Hello,
right.
each of you. And
So look, guys, those who are listening to us there on Castbox, jump over to YouTube when you can.
no, he's
To
probably sending it there because they can't. Otherwise, they would just connect to YouTube. There's
maybe,
probably some
maybe.
reason.
Well,
If they could just get on YouTube, why
maybe they
wouldn't they?
just like Castbox. I don't know Castbox. I don't
Oh,
know.
okay.
Anyway,
I thought it was
if
okay.
you're interested in interacting with the all the guys and gals here in the chat from all over the world, um, then come over to the Great Transition YouTube channel, which is bit.ly/the Great Transition. Okay, so
Yeah,
I see we have some
whenever
usual
you say that,
suspects. Yeah,
whenever you say that, you should put
put the
the
thing on. Yeah, I just thought if they're only listening, they can't see it. So that's
oh,
why. But now it's on as well. It's on for a while.
okay,
So
cool.
bit.ly/the great transition is how you can go directly to our YouTube channel, subscribe, and join us in the live show and watch us, and also join the chat. And I'm seeing here a bunch of usual suspects, Seth, from Miami and from Switzerland, hey Siegfried, and from Colorado and Quebec, in Spain and Wales and Utah, um, and Dallas, Texas. I'm seeing
Give us an update on what's
Israel
going
is
on in
here.
Texas.
Yeah, guys, how is it going in Texas? After our last show when we mentioned what's going on in Texas,
Yeah.
I have a relative. My okay, I have a mother-in-law. So the sister, my mother-in-law's sister lives in
Your
Texas. So we
wife's mom's sister's
that's
sister.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, my wife, she has a mom, she has a sister. So
Okay.
so she lives in Texas, and
Interesting.
so we got some pictures and everything from what's going on, and the pipes thing. You were totally right about that too. It's a big deal. Some people have it really bad. It's a
Chris, add
big
that to the list
problem.
of things I'm right about. Thank you.
Anyway, it's not an easy situation for a lot of Texans these days. So let's think of them. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Great transition.
Yes, the great
Um,
transition.
right. So we're lucky. We're very, very lucky,
Why are we
fortunate.
lucky?
We are so lucky because we understand this process that's we're going through a process.
Yes.
Whether we like it or we don't, humanity's going through a process. At the beginning of a process, when if you look at a horse that's born within a few hours, he's already eating, he's already suckling, he knows to avoid danger, whatever. A human baby's born within an hour, leave him there, he's eaten by crows.
Mm,
But so at the beginning of the process, you can't really understand what's going on. In the middle of the process, the horse is running around and doing everything, and the teenage kid, you leave him there, he like end up in just like a disgusting mess of himself, not cleaning up after himself,
yeah.
not able to fend
Yeah.
himself, he'd just be like surviving off pizza and boogers. So but at the end, the human is riding the horse, off into the sunset.
Right.
He if you understand if you can see past the transition phases and understand what kind of transition we're in, then you're not so frightened by the early stages or the middle stages, because you already
Mm,
see the fine and exquisite end of the process. Now, why do we have to go through a process? We go through the process because through the process, it builds us into something. It builds us into something. So we're not just a horse who, like, on day one, he's already a horse. That's why,
mm-hmm.
baby horse is called a horse. He's already full horse. He's horsed out on day one.
Yeah.
He can get stronger, but he's horsed out on day one. For us, it's like, it takes 30 years or 40 years. I don't know how long do kids live in their parents' basement these days, till 30 or whatever.
Well,
No,
that's
but
that's a
but
tough
it
question
takes a
today.
no, it's not a
Yeah.
joke. It takes a long time for a human being to become
Wait, I don't
uh
want I don't want to stop your flow here because but there's already two very interesting things that you bring up, and I want to know what is it, which one of them here that you want my mind to focus on. Okay, because one aspect of what you said is that it takes time and growth and process until we see the result of the human being, right? But if you wait long enough, you see a result that is much more, grand and exquisite and special than the thing that takes a short process to develop. That's one aspect, right, of what you said. And the other
yeah.
aspect of it, the other aspect I see in it, I don't know if that's what you were aiming for though, is that we as human beings, we have to learn everything. That's a huge thing. While animals get most of what they know through instinct, they have instincts. Coded into their instincts is a program that runs everything they need. They run themselves through instincts. We have to learn even how to go to the bathroom. We have to learn how to walk. We have to learn, and for a baby, it takes about like a year. I have my 1 year old now, so I'm my third kid now. So it takes about a year until the human being can walk, and they need to be taught, and they don't know what to do. And for the horse, it's just like, out of the womb, and pretty much like within a day, I think they're already walking, something like
Course,
that. So
within hours, you can
within
walk and eat and
hours,
avoid danger. A few hours, yeah.
right, few hours. So which aspect were you aiming for here? The fact that
So
we have
my
to
my
learn everything?
technique, my
Okay.
technique basically is I like to like spin a plate and then spin the next plate and then spin the next plate and then like kind of create like a scene, and then I want to like dance
Oh,
around it
oh,
with you.
like a mess. You mean you like making a mess and then asking me to
Many
put it in
times it turns
order?
into a mess because I'm not that good at what I'm trying to do. But what I want to do is I don't want to close these yet. I just want to open these ideas. I want to
All
open up all
right.
these little doors so that you start thinking, and
Okay. Okay.
There's something very interesting about learning. I've been trying to be a musician for like 30 years. And
And you're quite good at it, I have to say.
I'm a very good fake, a very good hack. I'm not
No,
really
no, no,
like,
no. You have talent in
there's something I
creating
can do.
it. No, no. You have a gift of putting arranging melodies and lyrics over these melodies in a
Okay, you're ruining
very
my story
i-
that
okay,
I'm trying to
whatever. No,
say
I'm
something.
not trying to give you a compliment. I'm just,
Oh,
doing
okay, thank
like
you.
just giving my observation on what, on you as a musician.
There's right.
Anyway,
Okay, so there is
yeah.
something I can do, but I want to be able to do something with those raw materials. And in order to do that, I need to have a skill set on the instrument. Okay. That's very hard for me. I'm just not good at it. I wasn't good like in school
Mm.
with those kind of things.
Like
Same thing with foreign
the
language.
repetitive stuff. That's what you mean?
Yeah, it has a lot to do with
The
that. And also
exercise
with
and repeat and rinse and repeat
yeah,
kind of processes.
although
Mm,
it's very, very good for a person like me, it
mm,
helps me a lot. Those things, it's just very
hmm.
hard for me. Also with foreign language, I've been trying to learn Hebrew for I don't know how long, and I can kind of converse, but I don't really have mastery of it. So anyway,
Mm.
so there's all of these very amazing systems out now to learn. People have studied how
The,
the brain learns.
Seth, I have to stop for a second.
Okay,
I
am I
feel
opening another door?
no, I feel that I'm in tangent mode today.
Ah,
I don't know
okay.
why. So everything you say can open up a tangent, and you
Mm-hmm.
probably don't want that because I see that you have something specific
I'm
on your
trying to
mind.
get to
So
something.
should I
Yep.
turn off tangent mode for a while?
No, no,
Should
no.
I?
It's enjoyable. Um, Set it to like 7 and
Okay. So
put the
just to
throttle, but to put the throttle on like 3. Like don't rush into
all
them.
right.
Kind of
All
ease
right.
into them,
All
and
right.
if they're good,
Okay.
so
We
yeah.
can do that.
Okay.
Yes.
So there's a way
All
that
right.
we learn that um like the way that we learned in school is really not the best way to learn. There's a way that the mind learns. It has something to do with repetition. It has something to do with interleaving, it's called. There's certain techniques. They know that when you start learning, you learn a lot real fast, and then you have a certain
Mm,
crash. And
right.
then you go like it's all kind of mapped out. Um, why am I saying that? From the tangent, I lost track of
We talked about how the human has to learn everything they know, as opposed to, say, a horse that, can walk a few hours after it's born.
okay, maybe I'll remember. Um,
And then you went into the curve of learning that
mm,
at first, if you learn
well,
something, you learn a
okay,
lot
let's
and then.
put that one on the side. Sorry, I lost it. But nature doesn't have any problem with time. For nature, there's no problem with time.
What do you mean by no
Nature has,
problem with time?
I mean that nature's been around for a few billion. I mean, what we can observe
Right.
is a few billion years.
13.8 billion. Right.
What we can observe, right?
Yeah.
The more we discover, like the better the telescope we get, the more we can observe. There's no problem with time and space for us if we don't get it in this lifetime, or if we don't get it now, meaning what we're going through. It's not a problem for nature if in this 100 years that I'm alive, like I don't figure
Oh,
it
I
out.
see what you're saying. So you're saying is nature doesn't rush anything. Like there's
No, no.
no
What I'm saying,
it.
what I'm saying is we feel like, oh, we had life, now it's COVID, then we got to get past it, and then I hope I to do this. Like everything is like, I got to do it this week, next month, 2020. For us, everything is we have a much different perspective in our 100 years of life, or whatever we're going to have with our maybe technology. Maybe we'll live 300 years, I don't know. But the point is,
Sure.
according to nature, she doesn't care. She's got plenty of time, like infinite time in both directions. Okay.
Okay.
So what is the purpose then of all of these processes that we're going through? It's only for our benefit. All of these processes, all of the viruses, all of these um, this process that a human has to go through, that a horse doesn't have to go through. It's all in order to develop this conscious sense of what's happening, a conscious sense of what this endless nature is. It's something that
Mm.
no other creature can do. we have the ability to consciously come to understand what kind of eternal reality we're in. And all of these things that are happening upon us now, the viruses and all these things, are in order to get us to calibrate and start to perceive what is this eternity that we're in.
Mhm.
Okay.
So you're saying
Uh,
nature is developing us, specifically human beings, through everything that's happening, while we go through all kinds of things in life, and we think, oh, now there's a pandemic. When are we going to get back to normal? Now this happened in my life. Now that happened. From nature's point of view, there is a developmental process preparing us to feel more,
mm-hmm,
perceive more, expand our
mm-hmm.
perception of reality, expand our dimension of experience, to so that we can become something that we are not yet aware of.
Right. If
Okay.
you had a
Okay.
good, really beautiful condo during the time that Earth was forming, you'd open the
Yeah.
window in the morning, it would be like a few thousand degrees outside with the nice
Mhm.
warm breeze coming and melting your face. And it was a
Mm.
horrible time to be alive. There was a war between these forces developing the inanimate degree of matter until it eventually became organic matter and so on and so forth. So right now we're in a similar battle of
Mhm.
those forces. It's be much better to have that beautiful condo by the sea with the breeze after the battle.
Right.
So right, so on the side of nature, she doesn't care if it happens in our life or if it happens in the next life, in the next 100 years or the next 100 years. She is going to keep pushing these plus minus forces. The benefit of where we are right now is the rocks and the minerals and everything that were battling it out had no conscious choice over the process. We can
Mm.
take upon ourselves those reins of nature now
Mm.
consciously and move through it. So all of these things, like this week, I saw crazy stories about. Oh, okay, hold on. Let me find my notes. There's um, there's a bird flu outbreak that I saw this week. I mean, it may be a little bit older, but it was in Russia, Europe, China, the Middle East, and North Africa. Okay, some flu, another flu in some birds. What's interesting is usually it doesn't jump species.
Wait a
Oh, you're so
second.
fast, Chris. You are so fast.
Russia reports
Russia.
first human cases of H5N8 bird flu.
Yeah, okay.
So,
So
mm,
this flu is happened in birds in Russia, Europe, thanks, Chris, China, Middle East, and North Africa. But what's interesting, okay, you know more how viruses work than I do, but there's millions of people that are infected with the coronavirus now. And so there's billions of viral particles, and between the people with the virus and all the different viral particles between the people, the viruses are doing these different things inside and kind of mutating and becoming different kind of variants and things like
yeah.
that. And what's interesting about what happened in Russia, which normally doesn't happen, is that the virus jumped species. It jumped to humans.
Mm,
Okay.
okay.
So it didn't before, but nature keeps working it and working it. Chris, there was that other story I sent you about the when the ice is melting. There was viruses, we mentioned it a few times on the show. There's viruses that are like 10,000 years old. There are diseases hidden in the ice and they're waking up. Long dormant bacteria and viruses are trapped. NASA scientists successfully revived bacteria that had been encased in a frozen pond in Alaska for 32,000 years. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah. So in addition, nature has like such a stockpile. In addition to plenty of time, nature
Hmm.
has plenty of viruses,
Oh yeah.
plenty of
Oh sure.
lots of stuff, right?
Sure.
Okay.
There's it's infinite. It's so, if you go into, you know, amount the study of how many, like the amount of living things that exist even just in your body that are not you, that are not you. There are billions and billions of living organisms, tiny living organisms, mostly in your gut, trillions, yeah, not billions, trillions of these things, different kinds of them, different kinds of them, and they have a life. Like it's literally that, movie idea where, maybe we are living in the belly of a giant monster. This is what's happening in your belly. Like your body is a planet. 90% of the cells within us are not ours, but microbes. Yeah, and there's all kinds of evolutionary deals that, these bacteria inside your gut have made with your gut, and with each other. Like you'll do this, I'll do that. You'll make me live, and I'll get this territory to live here, and I'll live there, and I'll be doing this, I'll be doing that. I'm gonna take a little bit of your energy, but just a little bit, and you'll just keep me here. There's a complex system of economy and ecology that is going on, that is literally happening inside your belly. It's fascinating. Anyway, what was that?
Because
Oh, the viruses, the viruses. Yeah, sure. Yeah,
so we're, you know, okay, your country now is going to give out this passport,
yeah.
not to leave the country, not to leave the country, but to go into restaurants, to go into gyms, to
Yes,
go into places, right?
as of today in Israel, there are places you can go
You get a yellow
into.
star if
On,
you.
ooh,
Sorry, I didn't mean to say that.
ooh.
Sorry,
Yeah, it's a green card.
sorry,
It's a
sorry.
green card.
Not
The
tasteful.
the You can go into a gym or a cinema, other places today, as of today in Israel, if you have this digital, thing that says that you've received two shots of the
Vaccine.
vaccine, or that you've had COVID and you are recovering, which means you're naturally vaccinated.
Oh, really?
So
I
yeah,
would. I
yeah.
remember when we were like super organic in the past. When my kids, maybe I'll get arrested for this. I'm not sure. When my kids were little, and we went to this little very organic-y private school. When one kid had chicken pox, you'd like go to a chicken pox party, and they would like pass the lollipop around to all the kids, so they all got chicken pox.
Oh man.
Maybe it's better to get COVID than if you don't want to get the that's not that bad,
The-
right? It's chicken pox. Everybody gets chicken pox. Did you have chicken
uh,
pox? I had chicken
I
pox.
had chicken pox. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So you don't want your kid to, you don't want to wait till the kid gets, 20 to get it.
Oh
You want
no,
him to get it over
you
with when
want
he's
him?
like five
Yeah,
years
yeah,
old.
yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah.
There is. It is.
So it was good that we did that.
I remember that custom. I remember
Oh, you did it too.
I
You had chicken pox
remember
parties?
my mother talking about that with other moms for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Um,
By the way,
okay, so not
Kevin
so
is
bad.
asking. Kevin James is asking, where is my green badge? Yeah, I don't have one yet. I didn't get vaccinated yet. I plan to. Maybe
Is
this
it it's like you wear it
this
on your sleeve?
week. No, it's on your phone. Oh
Okay,
man.
so
Yeah.
anyway, it's great. Congratulations to you guys. You defeated the coronavirus. So good for you.
Oh
And
no. Oh no. You can't say that Israel has defeated the coronavirus yet. There's a lot that we don't know with regards to what's going to happen in the next few weeks or months. I wouldn't say that, but we've managed,
there's
because we've managed to vaccinate a big percentage of the population. That's what we've managed to do.
okay, so what's happened? So what I'm trying to say, while I have 50 plates up and spinning in the air, what I'm trying to get to now that we kind of opened up and start to paint this picture is that um, nature's got lots of time, lots of viruses, and there is a plus and minus war that developed the inanimate degree. There's a plus and minus war that developed the vegetative degree,
Mm-hmm.
plus and minus war that developed the animate degree, and now there's a plus and minus war that's developing us. And it's not between Republicans and Democrats or Muslims and Christians or Jews or blacks and whites. No, it's between it doesn't matter that we're talking, all of humanity is, nature faces humanity as one. I'm not telling you something you don't
Collective
know, but
entity.
yeah, one collective
Col-
entity.
okay,
Yeah,
let's go with that.
right.
Yeah,
So humanity is like one thing regardless of color or anything.
right.
So uh So there's a plus and minus war. But the thing is, with the plus and minus war on the human degree, is that it's a consciousness thing. It's an emotional thing that we can go through. So to just manage it on the bacterial level, on the inanimate level, like, gotcha. Like, let me get back to destroying the earth, or like
Hmm.
getting divorced, or, you know, exploiting
Overconsumption,
population.
overeating,
Yeah. And by
over
the way, there's nothing
whatever.
wrong with buying stuff, but
Yeah.
yeah, right. But destroying everything in your path, that's what we're talking about. So there's a plus and minus war that's going on the human level. In nature, wow. There was another virus. God, this one's really scary. Uh it's brain.
Brains. Okay, you're gonna read that? I'll
No,
read.
you read it because
I'll
I
read
can't,
it.
I don't know how to
Brain
pronounce it.
swelling Nipah virus. Nipah virus. Nipah.
Okay.
Brain swelling Nipah virus.
Napa.
Nipah. Whatever it is.
Maybe it's a silent P and
Uh. So that thing, brain
I'm
swelling
making a lot of
virus,
jokes because the second half of the sentence is scaring the hell
is
out of me.
horrible. 75 times more deadly than coronavirus may be next pandemic. Scientists warn of the big one. Let me read the
Okay, so first of
subtitle.
all,
Let me
let's
read the
just say
subtitle as well. Wait a second. Chris, can you go up to the subtitle? What was that? Let me see. A brain swelling disease 75 times more deadly than coronavirus could become the next pandemic, killing millions, scientists have
okay,
warned.
just throw the story in the
Okay.
garbage now. The point is that we know newspapers are trying to sell stories, and maybe it's just a nothing, but the point is there's a lot of viruses. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things coming around the bend, and we're not going to outsmart. Nature's been, think of the difference between like a guy who's been in business for, or think about it. I don't know, someone with experience for someone with no experience. Nature's got like billions of years of experience. We've
Hmm.
got a few, thousands, hundreds, and we're like trying to outsmart this system. Like, stock trading is done with
Yeah.
algorithms. Everything good now is done with an algorithm. The
Mm-hmm.
ads are done with algorithms. An algorithm is only as good as all the data points you can figure out and put in there. And as much as AI, you can't outsmart nature's algorithm. There's infinite number of data points.
Yeah.
You're going to try and outsmart it over here. It's going to figure it out over here. You're going to try. The best to do is to play along, to ride with that
Yeah.
process.
That's a
But
good point actually with the AI. You know, I'd love to bring here sometimes maybe an AI expert or something and ask them what would it take. I'm sure you're right. But just to hear someone who can quantify that, that will be interesting. Like, what would it take to to mimic the algorithms of nature when it comes to evolution, when it comes to biological evolution. That's very interesting. If you I wonder if some of these AI folks have been looking at and examining some of these things. um
the the the
yeah.
the,
I mean,
the
if you
human.
just think about the calculations that your body is doing, the synchronous nature of cells in your body, all that stuff is fascinating. Yeah. Anyway, so you were saying, okay, sorry, I digress. You were
The
saying that nature, if nature wants to evolve this creature called the human being in a certain way to a certain point through a certain process, we're not going to be able to get in its way and change its course or
nature
go against it.
the brain is doing the equivalent of a billion calculations per second. Okay,
Right.
that's
Yeah.
a lot of and what, I'm like, should I drink my tea or my coffee right now?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous to think that we stand a chance against, if the brain is doing a billion calculations per
Hmm.
second, the system of nature that's managing all of the birds and all of the ants and all of the mosquitoes and all of those viruses that you told us are going on inside of us and all these things. The system is just way too big. So
Go ahead.
no, you go.
No, I mean, no, because, okay, this is where it begs the question that we asked in the very beginning of this show. When a person asks themselves, is there a purpose to all of this giant mechanism? This is because you see, a lot of smart scientists intelligent, highly capable, competent, smart people will tell you that while they see all of this wisdom, all of this intelligence in nature, they will say, yeah, but as far as we know, it's random and it has no goal. And random mutations going somewhere we don't know. It doesn't have a goal. Nature doesn't have a plan. It doesn't have a purpose. It's just what it is. But we know it's so. You know what I mean? That is the thing
Not
that
exactly.
that
People actually
okay.
think that.
Of course. What do you mean? What do you mean? Every uh, for that matter, rational, secular, material scientists, and
Hmm.
they can acknowledge, of course they acknowledge, they study, like whether it's whatever field it is, physics, biology, they study the intelligence of nature and they discover it and see it and they quantify it and document it and run experiments to find out more about its laws and so on. But when you ask them whether nature has a plan, or a grand scheme of things, when you ask them what's the purpose of human life, does nature have a plan? Even not what is the plan or what is the purpose. That's already, that's a whole question, the whole story, a different story. But just that question: does nature have a purpose? That is not something that all your scientists will
Yeah, they're
agree
good
to.
at they're good at figuring it. Right. We talked about Carl
That
Sagan
and
last week.
that's
They want to know
exactly,
why.
you talked about Carl Sagan last time we talked. But
Yeah.
so I just want to say, this is the thing that also really dawned on me as I was like growing up with these big questions. I was very much into science, also, learning about how things work and all that, read a lot. But then I was like, why are they not asking what's this for? Why are they not asking where is it going? Where is it headed? Is there a purpose to this whole thing?
Of
What
course you
about
can't
that?
ask. Of course you can't ask.
And then
If
I
you
went into
ask,
like 2 years of studying philosophy, and saw that in philosophy people were asking, but they didn't have that kind of down to earth,
mm-hmm.
direct,
Yeah, yeah. All these
empirical,
theories and stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
rigorous kind of approach to it. They were just
Mm-hmm.
like, there was a lot of interesting thought experiments, interesting writings, interesting. I've studied quite a bit of philosophy, especially on existentialism and the meaning of life and all that. But so this, the science side was lacking, the philosophy side was lacking. Anyway, yeah, that's
You know, if you look at the most, Japan, for example, um, the culture of Japan, it's like very neat. It's like honor. It's
mm,
like everything is, you go to the restaurant, like the geisha, like I don't know what it's called, the
geisha.
beautiful clothes.
The
Yeah,
geisha, you mean?
I don't know if that's the even word I'm thinking, but
What
just the
what the
beautiful.
geisha culture?
I'm not. I don't even know what that means.
You've been to
Just
Japan?
no, I haven't, but
Mm.
I've been to Japanese restaurants.
No, me neither. Me neither.
No, but the culture of Japan, it's about honor and everything is like, orderly. Almost,
yeah,
it's not like German where everything is like order. There, it's like orderly, but it's very kind of developed and
respect.
fine and
There's respect. There's
respect.
a show of respect that's evident.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
So in this culture that is so developed, there's like there's more suicide in Japan during this time, more death from suicide than there is death from
Yes.
COVID,
Yes.
right? So it's super interesting. So hold on, let
Chris,
me get the
can
thought
you?
out for a sec.
Okay. Sorry.
The concept is in places where people are just trying to get food, you'd
Yeah.
think maybe they would kill themselves, but they're fighting just to like get water. They're fighting every day, like would seem like those would be the ones who would want to kill themselves. They can't even get water. Like, why do I even have to deal with this crap? Just end it. But they're fighting to stay alive. And then on the other hand, you have a culture that's so advanced. There's this other phenomenon there where the young people are not involving in getting engaged in sex anymore. They don't want to
Yes.
this
I
right, and then they're killing themselves. Like
hmm.
the kind of the emptiness of like the development took them to a point. It's just such an interesting um,
Reality. It's the
reality. Yeah.
reality in Africa today, and in those how do you call them, developing countries, you developed
Okay.
and developing
First
countries.
world, we call it. Yeah. Yeah.
These are definitions of
I
economists,
don't know.
which I don't always care for, but anyway, let's say
Okay.
developing, and basically they measure it according to the development of capitalism in those countries. But anyway, anyway, the okay, so in the less developed countries, uh, there is the suicide rates aspire to zero, and people in these places, in some of these places, are struggling for survival. Yeah, so that's reality. While the Japan example that you've mentioned, what do we have here? COVID and suicide. Japan's rise, a warning to the world. Japan reports suicides faster and more accurately than anywhere else in the world. Unlike most countries, here they are compiled at the end of every month. During the COVID pandemic, the numbers have told a disturbing story. In 2020, can you zoom in a little bit, Chris? I think if people want to read it together with us, yeah, that's better. In 2020, for the first time in 11 years, suicide rates in Japan went up. Most surprising, while male suicides fell slightly, rates among women surged nearly 15%. I think I saw another headline about this somewhere that says that the amount of suicide deaths is higher than COVID deaths in the last year in Japan. Um,
So
anyway,
okay, so people are
yeah.
developing, right? You said, why aren't these scientists asking why? You know,
Well, some
the
scientists
reason.
ask why people commit suicide, and they research that, and they have all kinds of
No, 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 not about suicide, not suicide.
okay.
Why about life? Like, why? What's going on here? Because there's
Yes.
no, they don't have an answer. They don't know,
Yeah.
and they don't know where to get the answer, right? Like they have what do they call the big collider? The
The
gigantic.
Large Hadron Collider. The
Right.
that
So they
one, yeah.
want they want to find out. Yeah, they want to find out. What happened at the Big Bang. They're trying to figure out, but they don't know the thought. What's going on here. So another interesting phenomenon. Then, okay, either
Okay.
you don't have an answer. So your options are: I don't have an answer. You become hedonistic. Screw it. Like, let's eat and drink because tomorrow we're gonna die. That's
Right.
one good option.
Yep.
Like, very good option actually.
Yep.
I would
Sure.
wish I could do that option. I don't have the ability to anymore because the why do I exist bug is stronger than that bug. But I
Yeah.
sometimes get jealous when I see people who are just enjoying everything, and wouldn't that be nice, to just forget about any
Mm-hmm.
responsibilities and just live like. Okay, so that's one option, is the hedonistic option. The other option um is to just kind of bury it. It's not extreme, and it's not even super it's conscious, but like I get up in the morning, I start feel uneasy, I start scrolling. I got a few hours to kill on the weekend, I'm like just absorbed in my shows, or I'm like, I'm really into like marathons, or nothing against any of these things, but for a person who's using them in order to not deal with the question. So there's, on the one extreme, it's just total hedonism. The other extreme is like it's kind of bubbling, but I have other things that I just kind of keep doing to just kind of get myself through the day, right? As we keep going further, it's just the question arises in me and I don't have an answer. And it's like what we're talking about in Japan. I just kill myself because I don't see any way out of this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm empty. I got no options
And
here.
by the way, other developed countries as well, Scandinavia, very high suicide rates in the West in general. Yeah. Hmm.
Okay. And then there's like really intelligent. Did your lighting change? Something
Yeah,
happen?
I think I lost my
Oh, okay.
my
Um,
lighting.
um, was it God that did that? So then the other thing is that you have intelligent, like people like pay that are paying rent or paying mortgages and believe, and understand, that gravity is a real thing, and that, like if I slam my finger in a door, like it hurts, like all the normal things about life. But yet people are turning to religion right now more. In
Hmm.
For example, in America, there's like an uptick. There's like a more interest in faith. The looking to, what do we got here? More Americans than people in
Chris, can
other
you zoom in? Can you zoom in a little bit? Okay.
nearly
Yeah.
3 in 10, 30% US adults say the outbreak has boosted their faith. About 4 in 10 say it's tightened family bonds. Okay, family bonds, that's wonderful. But I'm interested in this faith thing, because, and I don't know, it didn't say, this is the study that we're talking about. It's a Pew Research thing, of a pretty legitimate group that does these kind of studies. You have people who are pretty rational people living in the modern world, and they're they maybe start believing more in, some story where there was a bush that was burning and talked to a person,
For example.
or, for example.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, every religion has their own special stories, like, a guy like just keeps pulling fish out of a basket. I don't know the exact story, or he walks on water or something like that. So it's interesting that
Oh,
we also have
or the water splits in half, all kinds of
the water
things.
splits in half and
Sure.
somehow they walk through the sea. Yeah. um so that's another option. Like, I don't know what's going on, so I'm going to kind of believe this thing. Now, it's one thing if it's a long time ago. How long are religions? I don't know. I mean, the three
I
Abraham
think
religions are 2,000 years, but there's stuff that goes way, way, way back.
yeah, it depends on how you define religion too, because the very first like the very 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 first religions, I think they're talking about even 30,000 years ago, but these are very simplistic systems where people, people exhibited ritualistic behavior. There's, I'm not, you'll have to go back to the history books, the anthropology books to see exactly, but this has been around for a long, long time,
So
developing
right.
for a
So
long, long time.
at
Yeah.
first, you need rain. So, you're a couple that, so let's sacrifice someone to the rain gods, or we
Yeah.
need sun or whatever. For a more primitive person, it kind of makes sense. I'm not exactly sure how this thing is working here, but, every time it rains, then we get crops. So, like, we need that. And, every
Well,
time I
it
stub
tells
my
you
toe, it
it tells you
rains within
that,
2 days.
what we call primitive people, they had a heightened sense of their dependency on nature. And they did, while they didn't understand exactly how nature works and how rain comes down and why it happens when it happens, they didn't understand the physics of it, so to speak, or the
Some of the co-
meteorology of it.
some of
they,
those
they
societies
understood their
actually.
dependence on this maybe a lot more than what, you and your kids understand today, feel
They also
today,
had a lot.
you know what I mean?
They also
Yeah.
they also had a lot more time than us. They lived. The Chinese calendar, the Mayan calendar was very, very precise.
Mm.
There was the Hindu calendar
Well,
that
yeah.
they
It depends what
studied.
society, of course, because in some society, if you're talking about people who are, always busy with survival, they didn't necessarily have a lot of time. But if you're talking about hunter-gatherer societies, the scientists say that they probably had a lot of leisure time because they were organized in such a way that they got all they needed, and they, had a good distribution of role distribution to have what they need to eat and so on, and they had a lot of time to have fun, apparently. Yeah.
So there, without as
But you were talking about worshiping. You were talking about worshiping nature. essentially.
No, what I was saying is that, we're looking for why. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
And there's
Yeah.
many reasons.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things to do with that question. One thing is, I don't even have time for that question. I don't have any food. Another thing is, I'm just gonna kind of bury it, but not really like paying attention that I'm burying it. It just keeps coming up in me. But I think that I feel bad because I need sex. I think I feel bad because I'm gonna turn to drugs. I think I need bad because I need to like scroll through Instagram. We don't understand what that these questions is like coming up. Like, what is
Yes.
on here, right? So there's that. We don't really, then sometimes the question becomes, like depression, like, what am I living for? In which case I may kill myself or I may turn to God. I got to do something. I got
Hmm.
to do something.
Yeah.
So there is this another interesting phenomenon that's coming out of COVID now. And it's not like we're turning to the rain god in, 3,000 years ago or more. It's like we're turning to the God who split the ocean, or returning to the God who walked on water in the same year that we're sending a rover to Mars and like developing AI and
Hmm.
you know
Well, it
all
just
this like
it just goes to show that we are a lot. I don't know. I don't have a best word for it. Maybe smaller than we think we are. We're a lot weaker. We're a lot weaker than we think we are. Here's the thing. I don't. Weak and small are not good adjectives. Sorry, scratch that. The human being, and that includes all of us, doesn't matter whether you believe in God or you believe in Buddha or you believe that there is no God. It doesn't matter. Secular and religious alike, this culture or that culture, we all have a need for purpose. We need to know the purpose of our existence. We either are more connected to that need or less connected to it, more able to distract ourselves, like you mentioned, with this culture of mass distraction that we've built around us, just to have always this white noise around us so that we don't, God forbid, just stop for a moment and think, what do we live for? So,
that
but
would be
we,
horrible.
that'll be horrible. But as human beings, we have that need. We have a need to connect to something in our life, to purpose and meaning. We have that need. We also have um, we have a need for closure. You know what I mean? Like, we need to know where things are going. We need certainty. We need to know where things are leading. This is the reason why, why a lot of why all the thrillers work on us so well, why soap operas work so well, because the human being has a need for closure. If there is an open question, we need to solve it. We need a narrative that will tell us, okay, this is happening now because this needs to happen. And so, if we don't, even the most rational people, intelligent people who normally wouldn't, agree with all kinds of explanations that are not sufficiently rational for them, if they feel that need for purpose and meaning, and this need for knowing the narrative of their existence, it's very possible that you'll find them turning to religion or turning to all kinds of belief systems. And I think it just represents a human need. It's also very unique to humans, isn't it? I mean, you could, I don't know all the science on it.
Are
I
there are
think
there any
it's
animals that have
yeah.
any kind of religion?
Yeah, I don't know all the science on it. I From what I remember reading here and there, there is
Like in
there
the
are
Lion King, they all like go to the
humans.
cliff and
The animals exhibit some ritualistic behavior, and there isn't a complete answer with regards to whether they feel what we feel as faith. It's also very complicated to research in an empirical way, as you can imagine. But they most certainly they don't have the kind of developed belief systems that we have. That's obvious.
well, one
So
thing that's
yeah,
are
this
you
is a
still
human
running with
thing.
this?
No, that's just a human thing. Yeah. Mhm.
we have we're called more than just being called a human degree. We're called the speaking degree, and the way that our communication developed allows us um, to communicate things that is even beyond. I know this is going to shock some people, but beyond even what the mycelium can communicate between, or between what the whales can communicate to each other. Um, the human, I mean, right now, if you listen to the top 10 songs, you would think that it's not true, but we have the capacity. It's unbelievable, actually, to put up like, if we looked at, like, Chris, maybe we could find like the lyrics from like one of the top 10 songs in the world right now and see how many streams. Oh God,
Mm.
my one of my boys told me the number two song on Spotify is by an artist called Pooh Shiesty, I think is his name.
All right.
I'm not shouting out Pooh Shiesty here. I'm just saying, like, the song was like, oh my God. I guess it was not that much better when we were kids, but the capacity
Mhm.
for what we as humans can do enables us to. I was asking, do animals worship? Do animals have any kind of religion or anything like that? And you said they may exhibit some of these qualities, but as a human, the ability to really form to it was the same thing about playing
We
the instrument before.
yeah.
I have these feelings in me, but in order to communicate them, you have to really, form, make something with it. You have to learn how to use the instrument and fine tune it inside. And then you can really create something exquisite that can make another person cry, that can melt, the heart of millions. That's something that's specifically human. uh, so
I want to we don't have a lot of time here. I want to say one thing just about this whole, like, I think we need to separate between uh rituals and behaviors that humans have exhibited and are exhibiting, throughout history, which are social constructs. You know, think, you and me and a lot of, probably most people on, connected to us right now, um, in some shape or form, probably celebrate holidays. Everyone according to how they, where they were born and the kind of tradition that they belong to, and so on. That's culture. That's customs. You know what I mean? And beyond that, or beneath that, there is a universal, that's culture, and it can change and it can take on a different color and a different shape in every person, in different societies, in different cultures. So some people put a tree in the put a tree in their house a certain time of year, and other people
love how that
uh
smells.
yeah, and other people do what, spin something they call dreidel, right? Like, what the hell is that? These are customs that have evolved throughout the years, symbols and so on. But um, but you know what I'm saying? And we're associating these things with the need
it's
that
it somehow
every
like connects us to something that's eternal, or something that
yeah,
has meaning.
yeah. So I'm saying, let all of these customs be whatever they are, and whoever's doing what, that's fine. But let's all try to connect to that deeper human need, which I believe is universal. If you're a human being, you want to know why you exist. How you go about finding an answer, that's a different question. That's let's talk about that. But we all have that universal need for purpose. And if nature knows what she's doing, meaning if nature has a purpose to human evolution, then you can't argue with the fact that, wait a minute, we have a universal need for purpose and meaning. And if nature has a purpose in developing humans, at some point, these things have to come together. It doesn't make sense that all human beings have this question even when they're little. Strip them away from their society, their culture, ask a child what they're thinking. Most likely at some point at the ages of 5 or 6 or 10 or something, a kid will ask themselves, why are we alive, mommy? What's life? What do we live for? That question is somewhere there. If you take away all the influences of culture and we of course repress that question, but it's there. It's in every human being. If it is, and if nature has a purpose in developing human beings, then these two things are intertwined. We are supposed to research our purpose. We are designed to become creatures that consciously investigate their own existence.
Nature planted that question back in the early plus minus war. You could even say that question is what propelled that war through the inanimate that formed the planets and formed the vegetative until we could come to form the mouth that could finally not just go quack quack, until the mouth could say, why am I alive? Till nature worked for all of this time, through all these billions of years, to finally form this creature that would find, and the creature popped out with 5 fingers, five parts of the voice, 5 extremities. We could really open all of this up to finally get to that question, and then to discover it, which is what's happening in the Great Transition. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. We will have to discuss this on Thursday. On Thursday.
Give a shout out to all the people who are with us.
Yes, I will. We will. We had people who are interested in investigating these meaningful questions with us from all over the world. Hopefully we didn't miss any place here, but we've had friends here from Utah and Spain and Quebec and Ohio, Netherlands, Wales, Egypt, Brooklyn, Minnesota, Colorado, Switzerland, Miami, friends on Castbox. Hey guys. Wales, I think, India, Dallas, Portugal, Israel, Brazil, North Carolina, Vermont. I think I saw Denmark there at some point, Los Angeles as well, Czechoslovakia, as well, Mexico, Colombia.
Where's Israel?
I think
the first friend you mentioned at the beginning.
I'm not sure. Israel. Tell me if I don't want to make a mistake here. Tell us where you're from, Israel.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was great. We do we have any? What song can conclude today's?
I just got a good vibe.
Jam.
That's all I got. I got a song that Lawrence wrote just for the good vibes. We ready?
Yeah. Okay, let's go for it.
Big hug, everybody.
Big hug, everybody. Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern. The Great Transition. See you soon.
We wanna know what makes your heart sing. We do. We wanna know, does connection get you boiling? We do. We want you to know, did you make our heart sing? You do. And we need you to know, this connection got us boiling. You do. We come to tell you of the future. Teach is love by one and all. We spend our days doing good to others, and we all come to be as one. We wanna know, do we make your heart sing? We do. We wanna know if we can sing this love song to you. you to know that you make our hearts sing. You do. And we need you to know we sing this song to bring joy to you. We are living in a world of love. We are singing all in one song of love. The reason for living is to